Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Pro Dota commentary done by Luminous. Today we are going to be casting LGD and Ehome. And when I say we, I am joined by LD from DotaCommentaries.com. What's up, LD?
Oh man, I've heard some things about this replay. I do not want to spoil this game, but it is a doozy to say the least. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And the viewers out there, if you are a fan of straight farm fest like I am, stay tuned. If not, well, I will see you in the next commentary because this is going to be a long game. The time in the YouTube bar timer is no joke. There's no spoiler segments added to the end. It is just all farm here from now on. It's two Chinese teams going at each other, so what do you expect? The picks are done. I don't know why it's scrolling back and forth, or it looks done to me at the very least. The heroes that we are seeing here today is Windrunner, Queen of Pain, Earthshaker, Crystal Maiden, and Morphling on the Radiant side. And we have a Leshrac, Slaughter, Enchantress, Enigma, and Shadow Demon on the Dire. Now real fast, as you can see here, is a little bit glitchy, the video section. Of course, this game is still in beta. I'd like to remind everyone that, you know, bugs can happen. So, alright, so what do you think about the picks? Kind of very
It's
bland.
very glitchy. Just give me 1 second here. Gotta change my camera real quickly. Okay, in terms of the picks, well, if we take a look at LGD, they're a very mobile lineup. The thing that strikes me first is they've got Queen of Pain, Morphling, and Windrunner. They're three core farmers on the team, very difficult to pick off and shut down. But then you take a look at Ehome, and if any lineup has the potential to lock those heroes down, well, it's got to be a Shadow Demon, Slaughter, Enigma, Enchantress, Leshrac, right? That's a lot of stuns, a lot of great setup initiation. So to me, it's a battle of the escape artists versus the lockdown artists, and the question is, who will prevail in that regard? That's how I'm looking at this draft initially.
I'm going to add on to your strat. You talked about the defensive capability of LGD, and not only that, we could definitely use that defensive capability into offensive because they're very mobile. Look at the Shaker, look at this Crystal Maiden. Both these heroes have over 1k range when it comes to initiation, and that really helps in terms of locking hero down, allowing Morphling to wave in, allowing Queen of Pain to blink in, or get that Shackle Shot to latch off. So I feel like the LGD squad, because of mobility, should have a big advantage in most Chinese games, which is quite positional based, and more mobility, well, gives you better position overall. Ehome is going to be running an offensive tri lane from what it seems. Sylar comes in here trying to fight over this ring. QQQ might be in for a little bit too much though. He does pick up the Invis rune and gets off a sneaky hit. For a little bit known fact, invisibility rune only allowed you to have 2 seconds of fade time, so you could do some action in between. That's why you could actually pop the invis in your bottle and then get that one bottle charge off before fading into invis. So a little bit of mech knowledge as you suppose. QQQ 357 is going to be going bot. He is going to be supported by PCT on the Shadow Demon. On the mid lane here, we have King J soloing mid here on Enigma. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Enchantress struggling, that is going to be Lamb. And meanwhile on the top lane here, we're going to have X playing that Leshrac.
Yeah, interesting to see the Leshrac on the safe lane and also getting a little bit of a farming role. Definitely a deviation from how we see a lot of the European teams play him, as well as the Southeast Asian teams. Let's go ahead and introduce LGD. So it will be Tao Bao Yao on that Windrunner in the Suicide lane. Should be a pretty even matchup. Both heroes have a lot of pushing capability and decent harassment as well. Good range in both for last hitting, decent damage. In the middle lane, it will be Zhao 8 playing that Queen of Pain. On the bottom lane, it will be DDC on that support Earthshaker, as well as DD on that Crystal Maiden. And of course, Sylar playing that Morphling. So it's going to be a tri-lane bot, and one of the best ways to try to deal with these tri-lanes is Enchantress. Speaking of that, Enchantress was thinking about making a go. Indeed, they are going to make a go. Disruption to start. Slither and Crush to follow. Earthshaker in a world of trouble. Perfect chain stun from Lanham. Nice timing there. They got one kill. Morphling getting blocked in by the creep. He is able to waveform back to the tower, but he might die anyway. QQQ really wants to dive this. The Enchantress creeps tanking up everything. Sylar does have a single point into morph, and indeed he will be morphing. QQQ is overextended a bit, but he should be okay for the morph. Boy, a lot of action off the bat, and it looks like the engagement is over for now.
Yeah, we talked about how the escape artists of the heroes of Radiant, and we definitely saw Morphling be able to wave away and also use Strength Morph to make sure that he is alive. Just to make sure that we both still synced up because we are casting from replay. I am just hitting the 2-minute mark, 2:01, 2:02. Seems like you were a little bit behind in that gank, but no big deal as we were trying to sync that one up. Yeah, okay, the laning choice, a little bit of awkward. For Ehome at the very least. We don't expect Leshrac to be getting the safe lane, especially as the hero that usually is very good at pushing You know, he's going to spam a lightning or two, and suddenly the creep wave is going to be right in front of Windrunner's tower, so he's kind of giving away a safe lane, if that makes sense. Generally, you want to see a pushy here on the mid lane, so he could push across the river, get those rune, and, you know, if Queen of Pain ever leaves, you could push down that really important mid tier 1 tower. But they're going to instead run Enigma there. Very interesting choice.
Well, it tells you just how much LGD values that rune control. Sure, Leshrac, or excuse me, not LGD. One thing yeah, it's excuse me, let me get my bearings here. Yeah, Queen of Pain in this middle lane is going to have the advantage in terms of controlling the runes. At the same time, KingJ very strong in the laning stage. So sort of go along with what you're saying, MMY is going to constantly be pressuring this tower top. It's going to prevent Windrunner from leaving that lane. That is one thing they have going for them, but I think the main goal here for Ehome, they're viewing the Leshrac as the primary carry. As I say that, there is a big gank on the middle lane. Nice roaming action coming out from the Earthshaker and the Crystal Maid. I'm guessing that was a smoke gank because there are a bunch of wards over towards the bottom lane. So good rotation from them, and Morphling not dying during this time. That kill should be worth it. Looks like we might see more action as Lanham being very aggressive here, but he will back off for the moment.
Yeah, Lamb, I'm very unfortunate that he didn't find a really good camp. I mean, you could see the fact that he dominated Ogre Magi. Not exactly creepy, we want to dominate, but we're going to have initiation right here. Perfect chainsaw here on Syla. Soul Catcher allowing him to do so much damage. Would that wave be enough with the defensive figure? Nicely placed by DDC, that will be, and Morphling lives to fight another day. But surviving in a lane and winning the lane is two different things. Morphling is able to survive for now, but I think QQQ, just by his positioning and with the creep wave, you can see that he's getting a lot of farm off. 12 creep kill to Morphling's 1. Well, that is a little bit of disparity right here. But meanwhile, the supports have been able to get off some ganks, so that's pretty decent. But I'm not too sure whether that's LGD's game plan, though, to not have Sylar to get the farm on the bot lane.
Yeah, if you look at Ehome right now, all of their core heroes are getting a decent amount of farm. MMY on that top lane leading the way, 18 and 10. Really dominating this lane in terms of the denies. Compare that to Yao, only sitting at 12 and 3, and this is a lane that Windrunner should at least break even in. So you got to credit MMY for that Lightning Storm harassment, as well as just outlast hitting in general, really playing that lane well. And a farm Leshrac, he is their best late game damage dealer. Maybe you can make an argument for a Slardar with max inventory, but generally the way he's played, especially in the Chinese heat, is very much as an initiator and a tank to sort of be in the front lines. Initiation on the bottom lane, big dive onto DD. He eats all of the nukes. Nice block in as well by that disruption. Great disruption block. That will mean a kill. And KJ sitting in the middle lane with an invis, maybe looking to make a go here in Zhao 8, or just do some harassment. And indeed, he is just going to opt for the harassment.
And here comes the Earthshaker. He is... Oh, miss Sonic Wave, but I don't think it would matter. Or will it, as we see a Black Hole and the 6 Eidolons doing some big damage. I cannot believe that Sonic Wave missed. But that cost him the kill. I mean, that kind of swing, and that was 1 kill, you know, that's a 1 kill swing. That means kind of was like a 2 kill disadvantage if you think about it. That gave Enigma a free trip back to the fountain, or yeah, and then he's going to be teleporting back. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain is going to be thinking, it's like, how did I miss that? I'm completely surprised about that kind of misplay. This is 2 Chinese teams going at it, so there shouldn't be any kind of lag factor. A little bit embarrassing.
The funniest part about that was DDC just standing there patiently. A lesser player would have immediately charged in,
right,
just to try and help his teammate eat in the black hole, possibly die to the head-ons. On the bottom lane, Sylar is waveforming out. He will be morphing to strength. He's got the wand. He should be popping it soon. Disruption, that might be the end of him. The illusions are a decent amount of damage, though. They're not going to be enough. Morph continues to go, and he will be just fine. But yeah, DDC just couldn't do anything. He was, I figure he had the troll shrug going on, and it's just like, hey man, I don't know what you want from me, but I can't help you here. And it looks like a nice defensive fissure. Ehome is leading the way, but hey, you expect their tri-lane to be a little bit stronger in this stage, simply because Shadow Demon plus Slardar is a guaranteed disable. You also have a lot of damage coming out with the Soul Catcher, and then Enchantress so strong with those creeps, the slow as well, great at ganking. So I think it's okay for LGD to break even here, as long as they get a good trade in the other 2 lanes. And if you look at Zhao 8, 31 creeps, 6.5 minutes in, and he's been moving around. He's found, and he died. He spent some time in the well, like you said. Thinking about that, that blinks up aggressively on MMY, and indeed the stun is not going to be used. MMY goes down. Great job there by LGD, kiting him, picking up a much-needed kill on Leshrac, who was getting a decent amount of farm of his own.
Yeah, and also you were talking about how much stronger offensively LGD's Ehome's trialing is on the bot lane. They also have more option. If you're LGD here, the only thing that you true support could do aside from kind of just staying in lane is get those smoke gangs off, and they have been doing that. But meanwhile here on the other side, Ehome, they could double jungle it up with the Enchantress and Shadow Demon in the lane. They have been doing that. They could leave Shadow Demon here and have Enchantress solo jungle to get a little bit more XP. Ehome's option is plentiful. Meanwhile, Radiant, they have to play very defensive. Look at the ward being dropped by the Crystal Maidens. As we
middle
see
lane, Queen of Pain actually whiffs the Sonic Wave.
Again?
Goes down to the idol. Yeah, she whiffed it again. Maybe there are some lag issues, and DDC was unable to do anything. KJ, whether by luck or skill, just completely outplayed Xiao 8, who seems to be better off just abandoning the lane for now, as he had a successful gank up top earlier. They want to make another go on Sylar. He is very difficult to kill, but they're going to make an attempt for it, I think. Or maybe they're just trying to shut down this pull attempt, which is not actually happening right now. Yeah, Sylar is really being shut down bottom.
To be honest, I don't think they even need to get the kill on Sylar. Perhaps, harass him a little bit, make sure he just doesn't get farmed. Right now, we're 8 minutes in here, and he has 8 creep kills. 1 a minute is not the goal you want to strive for if you're trying to play a carry. And this is more towards how well Ehome is playing. It's not like Sylar cannot farm. He doesn't just have the room to farm. Look at QQQ on the other side, sitting at 37 creep kill, which is not the best. But again, offensive trialing, that's pretty good. Using the amp damage, scaring away Sylar. We have a good defensive TP coming in. That is from the Shaker with the haste rune. That is running out fairly soon. 2 guys running in the jungle very menacingly. They are seen by this Observer Ward. The question is, will LGD go offensive? Because there's Riot Observer on top of Crystal Maiden as well. Little do they know, they both see each other. The other side does not know it. Here comes the Queen of Pain going on Lamb perhaps. There's a slow on Lamb, but the heal comes in. The fissure, and that's going to bring down Lamb. The explosive power too strong. Now they're going to get a 3-man stun. Can they kill Xiao? I don't think they can. Nice defensive disruption here. And I do believe Xiao will live. No, the Furball cannot get the last hit. And the clap misses as well. Meanwhile, we do have the Slaughter going down. And that was a big win here for LGD. They need a little bit more than that. Drive away the offensive trialing, making sure that Morphling get the farm. Crystal Maiden doing a very good job there. Going on PCT. No, just scaring him away. I don't think that Frostbite at the end was necessary. But at what cost did they do that?
Oh, Xiao blinks on top of King J into the neutral camp while this is all happening and gets another kill. Xiao just not.
Hold on. This is replay cast, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna pause the replay right now because I don't want to miss this one. We're gonna go back a little bit of time. We're at 1808. Are we okay with that?
1808.
Just scroll back just a tiny bit. If you get a little bit too far behind or a little bit too far ahead, we'll sync up.
What's your in-game timer?
803.
Okay, I'm at 807 if you want to catch up.
All right, we're gonna do that. Replay casting. Thank you, Valve. Is what we're gonna do. I'm pausing. 3, 2, 1, go. Because that sounded like an exciting kill, and I don't want to miss that one. So, where are we? We're 8 minutes in the game, and I think we're gonna see that big battle happening on right. So, of course, we know exactly what's going to happen. So let me talk about what happens at the end of that battle. Sure, the Radiant had the advantage in the battle, but you got to keep in mind that we have Windrunner porting in, we have Queen of Pain porting in, and basically it's a 5v3 on the bot lane, and that means that Enigma and also X on the top lane will be getting some free farm. So making sure we're going to catch most of the kills here, hopefully.
Yeah, the other thing that happens during this time is King J pushes down the middle tower. You'll see it's got a 3rd HP. The rotation is forced in by Xiao 8, so this tri-lane is already kind of winning even when they're not getting kills, even if they die here and there. Of course, we've seen these kills before, we don't need to cast them. But when you force that rotation, it's very similar to a lot of other pushing heroes like a Prophet, like a Leshrac, and indeed Ehome punishes the rotation, getting the tower trade, and frankly a tower for a kill or two is definitely a good trade. Especially if you look at Ehome's lineup, they really want to get map control early. With heroes like Slardar, Shadow Demon, Leshrac, you can pincer your opponents quite effectively. Yeah, so you're going to see Xiao 8 here, looking to just head back towards base, and the quickest path is directly into this neutral camp. Flicks right into KJ, and the Malif is there to clean it up. KJ did have vision thanks to that amplified damage, so definitely might have had his spidey senses tingling, looking to set that one up, but of course got a little lucky for Queen of Pain to blink in there as well.
I don't know if it was really luck because there was no reason for him to be there, and he wasn't dropping an offensive ward. It was kind of like, oh man, I have a fun shot. King J might be here. Defensive visual drop on the bot lane to slow down that initiation. But with Sprint, they're gonna make a go on DD. Will that be enough? Using Illusion, trying to block Enchantress, providing a little bit block. A teleport storm comes in right now. QQQ is gonna be going down the Sprint, doing some big damage. Dot Sonic Wave did not miss defensive disruption himself to bait a little bit more time, and looks like somehow Shadow Demon survived a lot longer than I imagined. That's 2 kills going in the favor, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the strength of teleport scroll. How many times have we seen ganks being turned around because of those TP scrolls? King J and Xiao A is gonna look at each other in the eye and be like, well, we don't really want to take this fight. There's a DD on one side and there's a Blink on the other. Meanwhile though, we have MMY pushing down the mid lane after pushing down the top. So earlier I talked about how the 5v3 team fight, sure, it went to LGD in terms of the numerical score, but Ehome able to get a lot more gold. Right now kill favor is towards Radiant side, but gold hugely in favor to the Dire, as we see about a 5,000 gold lead. This is pretty insane. We're only 11 minutes in the game.
Yeah, MMY did push down that top tower, and I don't think Yao has left the lane either. That's just the pure raw pushing power of Leshrac with those early arcane boots as well as the bottle. Just nothing you can do to shut him down 1v1. Even spamming power shot, which I'm sure Yao is doing to try to hold on to that tower. It's just not enough. You really need more than one hero to deal with that Leshrac. Maybe someone like a Syllabear who can really punish him, as well as tank the Edict early on and sort of stand toe-to-toe a little bit better. But hey, these are the heroes they had to work with. Syllabear was banned out, and so again, I gotta give Ehome a lot of credit. This is the strength of their lineup, is their ability to get towers without devoting their entire team towards Enigma conversions. Leshrac, Edict, definitely enough just by themselves to bring down towers. Initiation maybe coming out in the bottom lane. Nope, they're just a little harassment. PCT doing a nice job here of constantly sort of pressuring. I love this ward behind the tower, and I'm a little surprised LGD hasn't tried to deward it. I mean, if you're LGD, you have to figure Ehome's vision, because otherwise, why would they be so comfortable being that aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually the second time that Yao has ported to the bot lane to make sure that he gets some help. And I think during the first teleportation, that's where MMY did a lot of damage. And right now you can see this offensive tri-lane, although not getting as many kills as you like, they're doing such a good job. Morphling's not getting farmed. Teammates are forced to teleport to help the Morphling. And I think that's a one tri-lane in any day and age. Meanwhile here, it looks like 357 has teleported on top lane as we see Windrunner picks off Enchantress, walking that uphill. Sorry for missing that one, but as you could imagine what happened, Enchantress did not have the uphill vision. Meanwhile, Radiant did, and well, that was a little bit unfortunate for her.
Yep, nothing really too exciting there. Just a simple frostbite into a power shot. Black hole in the middle lane. Xiao Wei blinks out. Oh, and Xiao Wei strikes back after King J just really dominated him through the early stages of this game. He is a level behind here, but with a black hole down, he will be very happy with that trade. Blink in from King J. Man, he wants this kill. Great power shot. That Sonic Wave is not going to miss, folks. And King J will be going down. Will Xiao Wei go down as well? The Malefice, the last tick, does it. And down he goes. So a kill for a kill, but a black hole wasted. Definitely more important than that Sonic Wave.
Well, I think Enigma wanted to blink in and not get that physical attack off. He wanted to get this Malefice off. And with the damage alone, they would have able to brought the kill. Unfortunately, probably a little bit misclick and ate the Shackle Shot and went down. And I think if you actually killed or stunned the Queen of Pain, probably would not have eaten the Sonic Wave either. But, you know, too many ifs. As we see, MMY might be in a little bit of trouble. Are we going to drop the Nova? No, we are not. A lot of warding and dewarding going on both sides. Particularly well done here by Ehome. They're still applying so much pressure on Morphling. We are 13 minutes in. Let's check out Morphling's farm. He's got 30 creep kills. Well, it's better than 1 a minute, but not by much.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Morphling get shut down harder than this. I did cast a game recently where Burning played Morphling, and he had 2 CS per minute, I want to say 20 minutes into the game, but what he had going for him was a couple of kills. Sylar has really, he's actually doing well in that department as well, 2-0-2. Yeah, so he's doing a little bit better than Burning did, and spoiler alert for that game, Burning ended up with 10 CS per minute. Now, I'm not saying Sylar is Burning, but hey, Morphling certainly is a hero that can flash farm if he gets a decent start. While I was talking, there was a kill up towards the top. Queen of Pain went down again. This is one of the most difficult games I've ever seen a Queen of Pain have. Lanham is Shackle Shot not going to latch to the bottom lane, and meanwhile, top tower is taking a lot of pressure here. Looks like KJ trying to do a bit of backstabbing on the creeps, and he's going to blink on out of there.
And I think with this pressure being applied on the top lane, Morphling's going to happily TP to the top and get some farm going on. But LGD effectively is saying right now is we're going to give up that tier 1 tower on the bot, and it looks like it's so low in HP. Why isn't LGD denying this one? Yes, they should be denying it, and they could back off now. It was, it's come, I guess, 15 minutes of hard-fought battle on the bot lane. Ehome has claimed the victory there, and they'll continue to get more map control. Look towards awarding for the support player for Ehome. They'll continue to inch deeper and deeper into the Radiant Forest, and making sure they now officially claim this forest, as there's no more more sneaky backstab ganks from teleportation. You can see Nigma, farming the level 1 camp. He already has a Blink Dagger up. Probably was the reason why he missed the Black Hole earlier on. And of course got himself killed as he blinked into the trees. And I think he is going to try to set up more team fight with that Blink Dagger. We generally don't see Blink Rush first. We see, whether it's going to be a Drum Rush, Mecha Rush of some sort. Kind of odd to see this Blink Rush. Let's see how it's going to be using it.
I actually like it a lot, and I think you made this point in a cast we did maybe a week or so ago, that if you want to have a great initiator, well, hey, Enigma with a Blink Dagger is actually pretty strong with the Malefice. Sure, it's not as, it's not the best, it's not a Burrow Strike or anything like that, but it's a decent stun. It also, there's the constant threat of the Black Hole, and what it gives them is a little bit of mobility to sort of help stand toe-to-toe with LGD. You've been talking a lot about how they're creating essentially a net of wards surrounding LGD, slowly constricting them like a boa constrictor, perhaps. And another way to, another piece of that strategy is not just putting down the wards, but having the ability to actually turn those wards into kills if LGD overcommits to farming or to trying to, leave their side of the map. So I think the Blink Dagger fits in this case.
Yeah, it will definitely give them that team fight that they're looking for. Speaking of team fight, Radiant has picked up one of the most important team fight item at this stage of the game, which is such an early mech on the Windrunner. We talked about how she was having trouble on the top, as we see QQQ making sure Sylar is not getting all the free farm that he has, playing so aggressively in the enemy side because he know he can. The enemy, or his teammate on the bot, making sure they're keeping up the pressure. As I was talking about, because of the early mecha, look at how low HP the Radiant here has. Crystal Maiden less than 1,000, Shaker less than 1,000. I think everyone is particularly less than 1,000. If you're healing 250 per pop, you're healing 25% in AoE. That's an insane amount of healing, such early stage of the game. And having that item, that might just be what they need to come back here. As we see a Blink Initiation on the top lane here. QQQ takes a little bit of damage, but counter initiation as we do have the Black Hole being used. Not the best chain stun, but I think they are going to get the kill just barely. Sylar does not have his Adaptive Strike just yet, which is standard. But perhaps might actually should have invested a level into it to break that Black Hole.
Yeah, in retrospect, that would have been a nice thing to have. Of course, he, was not anticipating perhaps having to be this involved in the early game. I mean, sure, you look at Ehome's lineup, they're capable of dominating early, but it's not like LGD has horrible early game heroes. They've got a Crystal Maiden, they've got an Earthshaker, a Windrunner, Queen of Pain, a lot of heroes that should be strong in this phase of the game. And you really just have to credit Ehome for the constant pressure, taking advantage of even the slightest mispositioning, any sort of mistakes, punishing it. And now, you talked about HP, well, look at that Slaughter. 1,500 to his name. He is a beast. Nearly doubling most of LGD's heroes. It is a very passive game. I'm going to take a look at the gold graph here. Sitting around almost 7,500. It's only a 3-tower differential, so you can't chalk it up to kills because the kills are tied. You can't chalk it up to towers because it's only 3. That is just a lot of farm going Ehome's way. And they're farming the enemy jungle. I love the way they're playing. This is such patient, slow but methodical domination of the enemy side of the map.
This is textbook Dota play, right? If you're dominating, get more farm. There's no reason to push down more tower if the enemy's defending so well. And so far, LGD, despite not having their farm, at the very least, they're having heroes in front of their towers, protecting them. They're making sure that they're trying to get ganks off. But Ehome is, slow and methodical, like you pointed out. Now, a slight pick, if I want to kind of pick on the Dire a little bit. If you're ever warding or de-warding on this camp on the Radiant jungle, as we might see a little bit of engagement, so let me look away a little bit. You want to put the Sentry Ward always over here, because that will see this Observe Ward a little bit to the right. So a little bit of a tiny mistake, if you will, but Ehome overall playing very beautifully so far.
Oh, they really want to make it go on this bottom tower. It will not be denied. Great shackle shot, however. The Echo Slam. Actually, I don't think I hit anything thanks to the defensive disruption. MMY eats a lot of nukes. He will go down. The Pulse Nova did some damage. It was not enough. This is looking like an overextension here for Ehome. They've lost 1. 1 for a tower is fine. 2 for a tower, not so much. And if anyone else dies, it is a rout. It is 2 for a tower. I think it's okay, but not the best trade in the world. And if we're going to continue to pick on Ehome, I got to say, they have a Slardar, they have map control, they have Eidolons. Why have they not gone for Roshan yet? And on top of that, they have the ward coverage.
And I think to answer your question, not that I'm saying I understand exactly what Ehome's doing. My guess is that if they do get to go for the Roshan when everyone's alive on the Radiant. It just gives them some freedom to get farm. It gives them the freedom to go for those tier 1 towers. Sure, they're not getting the Roshan themselves. That also means that if they play correctly, LG is not getting anything else either. And the fact that they're farming in the enemy jungle, I think they're overall going to make more gold. It's a small incremental advantage, but it's an advantage nonetheless. Whereas if they go into Roshan and give, LGD a chance to actually either crash a Roshan party or push down on tier 1, that might be a big wiggling room that LGD was looking for. So it's very, very Ehome-esque, very Chinese-esque Dota, where, we're winning, we'll just get those slow advantages, small advantages, instead of going for big risky play, which, again, that's how Chinese love to play their Dota.
So it seems like we have a bit of a pause here. If I remember correctly, there's about 20 minutes of total pauses this game, or so I've been told. Maybe we want to fast forward? Well, I guess this is not one of the long ones, as both teams are saying go on my screen. It looks like we should be getting the unpause any second now. Here it comes indeed. Sylar, I want to mention, has an Ogre Axe, so I guess this is going to be a BKB rush. I'm not sure what else it could be. Maybe it'll be a Sanj. Aside from that, I don't think it really gives you anything. Of course, it does give you a little bit of HP. Maybe he's just picking up for that. The strength can be morphed into agility. So even if you buy tank, you can always turn it into damage on Morphling. That is the beauty of the hero. Still, this is not a common way to play Morphling, not a common item to see picked up this early. And it just shows you, Sylar is on the back foot. He's being forced to adapt his build. I'm sure he'd much rather have an Ultimate Orb or a Yasha be working towards a Lincoln Sphere or Manta style. Heck, even an Ethereal Blade, although generally I think he'd like to be farming a little bit more than going for those aggressive early engagements.
Yeah, and you might be saying, well, BKB doesn't block the Black Hole, and BKB definitely does not block the Amplified damage. Is this still a good item here? And to be honest, I think it really is. Sure, you might get hit by the Slaughter and a couple of physical right hits, but the big burst of damage that he's very worried about at this point is those Pulse Novas, as there is like, I don't know, initial D going off in front of my window or something. But yeah, there's the big burst damage coming from the Leshrac is his biggest worry. Soul Catcher and damage amplification on those magical damage is going to be insane. So having the survivability, and it's not a bad mid-game item for him to have. He could actually wave in and BKB up and suddenly force Ehome's hand. Do you stay around and hit the Morphling and really have no chance of killing him? Because he will have the Replicate as a backup. He will have the Strength Morph as a backup. If you stay around and fight, here comes the Crystal Maiden, here comes the Shaker and Queen of Pain, and suddenly your life might get a lot more difficult. So it gives them a little bit more offensive potential as well, which is not bad.
Oh, they really want this kill, and Zhao on the bottom lane. Will he be able to get out? Blink in from QQQ. He does have that Blink Dagger, amplify damage. Nice stacking of the stuns. It's just too much burst. Down he goes. One thing I just noticed right before that gank happened, Lanham has picked up a gem, and this is really one of the final components of securing that map control, is de-warding. So yeah, it's great to place on your wards. It's nice to throw down a sentry ward here or there, but the only way to ensure that you're really shutting down all of their wards and all of their vision is to pick up the gem, and indeed he's going to find his first victim. Yep. This hill ward will immediately be brought down, so nice pickup by him. I
mean, if you think about such an early gem investment, all you have to do is take down, I say, 2 or 3 wards to really make it worth it. And sure, I mean, if you want to look at the numerical, really, you have to take down like 7 wards, but 2 or 3 wards kind of minus gold on the enemy support who is automatically already a lot poorer than you are. That's kind of like a big victory. He already took down 1. He's going to find a couple more. He's going to find 1 really if he's going to go left. So it's starting to pay for itself. Now, of course, if you do die, it does give the gem to enemy side, but that's quite alright, especially if you're getting so much map control, and now they are going to go back to the Roshan. Lamb, by the way, sorry, not Lamb, X, by the way, has already picked up that Bloodstone, and was able to really get an extra charge on that Queen of Pain gang. Also, look at how much they're gripping on LGD. Morphling push down on tier 1 on tower. Nope, they're going to TP back and make sure they get defend the tower. And right now, look at what LGD is doing. They're just grouping up in front of the tier 1. They know the enemy team is Roshaning, but what can they do about it?
Apparently, they want to have a go at this. They're smoked up. This is a little surprising, a little uncharacteristic, I have to say, to see such a bold attempt here with such a big deficit. And trust me, LGD knows they are behind at this stage of the game, but they're thinking about making a go, maybe try to catch someone outside of the pit. And if they want to catch anyone, I'm sure King J would be a prime target. Well, they can't get the Roshan, but they're going for the next best thing, which is some pressure on that middle tower. Nope, actually they're going to back off. Just cleared out the creep wave. So I gotta say, I really dislike this play from LGD. If you're not going to make a go on the tower or the Roshan pit. Why are you not just farming? And indeed, they are going back to farming now.
Yep, and I think this is going to be one of the first of the numerous time that I will be referring to NS's article on Roshan. As if you look at the positioning on the Radiant side and how difficult it was for them to go into the Roche pit. With the tier 1 tower mid up and tier 1 bot up for the Dire, there's really one path. And that one path is this path, which I'm drawing arrow, going down the ramp to the river. And if I don't care if you're smoked or not, there is going to be central already for Ehome. There's really zero way to get the gank off, as we see Queen of Pain blinking back out. No, that was a Slaughter blinking in for a chase. Wasn't able to get that one off. They do see Crystal Maiden, and Crystal Maiden will be... Crystal Maiden is kind of trapped, trying to dodge those suns, and will it be? And it looks like they did actually kill the Slaughter as well, so Leshrac, well played. Slaughter is going to be back soon, and let's see if we're going to lose a little bit more kill. King J pops the BKB, Black Hole on 3! My goodness, that Black Hole was perfect. QQQ going to get a Slitherine Crush off, but will that be enough to kill Yao? Yao pops off the Windman, stay around, fight. Crystal Maiden is still alive throughout all of this, drop off a ultimate. Meanwhile, Morphling getting a lot of damage done. Double two-man Shackle Shot. Morphling is going to wave back, not going to wave in for that kill. Overall, I think that was a pretty big victory so far for LGD. But as I say that, QQQ looking for more. Splitter is going to hit as well. But too tanky is that Morphling. Morphling might wave and get another kill. Still on cooldown. 357 finally dies here. Enchant on the Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain blinks out. We have a smoke being popped. Yellow teleports back in. That is Earthshaker. Earthshaker will be getting disrupt. And I think, do we have any follow-up stun? No MMY. A little bit trouble. It's going to eat the Fidget for sure. On the wrong side though, but we have blinks, so we will be able to chase. LGD gets yet another kill. Blinking, and it looks like a Shadow Strike. Can we get off the teleport? Scroll. Oh, no enchant totem. A little bit of miscommunication off a great play, but I still think that was overall a good victory here for LGD. What do you say to that?
Definitely a great victory. I'm so disappointed that DDC did not get off that enchant totem, because that was definitely Woe worthy if he gets it off there. Still, at the end of the day, Slaughter had an Aegis. He lost the Aegis. I think the kill trade was pretty even. The gold graph, yep, it stabilized, and that suggests that the kill trades were even. More importantly, you're breaking even with ultimately the best late game carry out of these 10 heroes, which is the Morphling. Queen of Pain also hitting level 15. Somehow almost getting that level 3 ult, even though he's died 7 times. Xiao 8 finding a way in spite of all his struggles this game. And that level 3 ult alone, I mean, you mentioned, we've talked about how being behind is going to make you a little bit underfarmed, a little bit squishier. Still, Cupid Cat, 900 health, Lanham, only 1200 health. Even that Leshrac with his big Bloodstone, 1400, Enigma, 1300. And the Slaughter are pretty healthy at 900. Still, that ult is going to hurt a lot. That's close to half the HP pool for almost everyone. And nice job there by Xiao 8, stealing a rune from MMY, who's got to be a little frustrated.
Well, that ultimate's only going to hurt a lot if she lands it, and so far, there's more misses than lands, let me just say that. King J, by the way, had the BKB in the last fight, was able to pop it, and having those magical immunity will be key in terms of surviving against the big magical component on both teams, to be honest. Queen of Pain has an Ogre Axe, and I don't think that will be going towards an Acceptor. It will be going towards a BKB. Again, amplified damage goes through it, BKB goes through it, but again, Dire more bursty on the magical side. Here comes LGD, perhaps want to push down a tier 1, fairly healthy in terms of HP pool on the tower, but a waveform and a Scream Pain means, yep, all the creep waves are dead, and they're going to really blow down this tower very quickly. Ehome not defending this tier 1 because they want the tier 2 on the top lane. They're starting to get more and more map control. Glyph is being forced to use. Windrunner pops off whatever defensive spells that she can. Really, Radiant can't defend that boldly because there's a Blink Dagger on that Slaughter, and he will not be shy to use it.
Still, even though we see LGD getting some the last of their outer towers knocked down, aside from that tier 2 mid, I think it's okay. I think they're actually in a decent spot here. If you take a look at the heroes that they have such a strong turtling lineup right now. Earthshaker, probably the single best turtling support in the game, even without a blink, simply for that fissure. And of course, if the enemy overextends, Echo Slam will punish them for it. They have a Force Staff up a Windrunner, so it gives the Earthshaker decent position. Shackle Shot, easily one of the best and most spammable disables to punish any sort of high ground aggression. Great initiation as well. Then you throw in the Morphling, who can waveform in, replicate out, morph to strength if he gets into trouble. If you're going to Turtle, you can't ask for much of a better lineup than LGD. The only thing they're really lacking right now is maybe a little bit of those support items. I don't see a pipe up, and I don't expect to see one anytime soon, and you really want to have one against Leshrac alone. I mean, forget all the other nukes, and they do have a decent number of other nukes. The Shrek alone is enough to make your entire team require pipe. Shackle shot at MMY will hit, but he is much too far back. They can't even think about going on him. Also, the other thing that I really like that LGD is going for them right now is it's getting that stage of the game where the map is getting spread out. Sure, the outer towers are getting knocked down, but Ehome is not at a place right now where they're ready to push racks. And while they're not able to do that, as it looks like Sylar taking some harassment top, it gives them time to farm, and they have heroes that are very mobile. It's not just about being able to clear waves quickly, it's also about being able to get to those waves quickly, and Windrunner, Queen of Pain, Morphling, 3 of the best heroes for doing that in the game. So I think they're at a decent spot. Still, a couple of mistakes will cost them rounds.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the map positioning on Ehome compared to they were 10 minutes ago, as we might see a gank on Sylar, it's going to take a lot to bring him down, but that's a lot of spell being dropped, and that is one mistake that you talked about that might cost them the game. Now, luckily for them, no tier 2 on the top, so they're not going to lose it there, or, you know, they lost it already. Now it looks like Ehome's going to rotate mid and try to claim the last tier 2, and they have about 40 seconds to do it. In fact, we have a lot of blink daggers on. Yep, they are going to lose the tier 2. I don't think LGD will be defending this, but as I was saying before that gank, look at the positioning Ehome was at compared to where they were 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago, Ehome is right in front of all the towers. They are farming in the enemy jungle. They are getting whatever they wanted. Now, not so much. You can see that LGD, despite their under level, they're getting some ground back. And having that ground for a Morphling is so important. Looks like BKB is popped right now, and they're taking the fight. LG doesn't want to really pursue this fight, but what this early BKB investment and usage is protecting that tier 2. And now Morphling is back, and Ehome, even though they had a 40-second advantage, 5v4, was not able to convert too much of it. All LGD really committed to was a single BKB charge, and I think that was well worth it.
Yeah, I love the quick BKB on the Queen of Pain, because the best thing that she can be doing right now is to draw attention away from the Morphling, the Windrunner, and the Earthshaker. These 3 heroes are a lot easier to burst down at this stage of the game. Morphling not quite so much, but you know he's target number 1. So even though he might be a little bit more survivable or about the same, he's going to be a lot higher priority to begin with. But Queen of Pain with that BKB forces you to account for her, and we saw there it also allows you to counter initiate and shut down the Slardar's initiation. I guess counter initiation is not the right term, but it allows you to shut down the Slardar's initiation. If you blink in and Shadow Strike him, he cannot use his blink, and suddenly that 2150 investment is doing absolutely nothing for you. That being said, of course, this is still a very scary lineup. But yeah, it can also even draw the black hole. So I like the decision. Plus, hey, she needs it. She is too squishy not to have a BKB. We'll simply not be able to survive without it.
And you talked about the defensive capability of Earthshaker, and somehow, I don't even know how he found to go for it, but he's got himself a Blink Dagger. He just hit level 11 off the mid creep. Look at his score right now. 1, 2, and 10. And that's being the epitome of being in the correct place at the correct time. Basically, ganked his way up to a Blink Dagger. And the fact that the game is so tight right now, he's been 10 of the 14 kills. 11 if he's counting the kill that he's got. That is a well-played Earthshaker so far. And because of that Blink Dagger, I think Ehome just can't push. At this point, the teamfight's going to go for such a long time, where Morphling, Queen of Pain, the mobility that you talked about early on, it's going to allow them to stay alive for such a long time. And having a Blink Dagger on Earthshaker, if you're chasing one of the most dangerous aspect of the game, being chased down by Earthshaker. Meanwhile, King J barely blinked away from that Queen of Pain. And again, you talked about the high level of Queen of Pain earlier, level 16 at this point, with BKB finish. I'm not even so sure how far behind LGD is. If we look at the Go chart, it's about 75,000 back, but that's mostly in all those exterior tower. I feel like right now LGD is kind of even, if I may say, against Ehome, and all those tower available, that's basically free gold left to be taken by LGD sooner or later.
Can you imagine what level would Zowie be if he hadn't died 7 times? He'd probably be like level 20 right now.
Yeah, 7 death, oh my goodness.
He is a fearsome player. If you can manage to keep pace with the enemy solo mid when he's 7-3-2 and you're 4-7, of course the 9 assists certainly help out, but man, Zowie played one hell of a game. We haven't talked about creep scores, and since this is settling into a very passive game and kind of has been for a while, it's probably worth mentioning those. Zowie up to 150 CS, Yao at 127. Sylar at 170, or just about. QQQ only at 128. Actually not great farm for Slardar. Now, Slardar is not one of the best in terms of quickly mowing down creep waves. His Slither and Crush is not spammable because he just doesn't have the mana pool to support it in pretty much any game, unless you get some very unorthodox items. So his farm not too great, to be honest. King J at 205. definitely leading the way in terms of the farm first team, but a farmed Enigma can only do so much for you. I guess the best... Oh, initiation on the middle lane. Shackle shot on 2. Great shackle shot. Down goes Lanham. And the BKB is popped on Sylar, who did rush that. The Yasha is up on him as well. 4-step out on Zoe, but he will still go down. KJ fishing for an opportunity to drop this black hole. His blink is not being disabled now. And you mentioned the cost of that gem if it goes down. But in fact, it was picked up by Ehome, so they're not going to lose it.
Yeah, at least not yet here. Sylar waved and popped the BKB. It was doing quite a bit of damage, but he knew that his team too squishy to find. And Shaker actually did not blink in for ultimate. A little bit surprising, just dropped the fissure. And that was a sign that, hey, maybe not the best fight we want to take. Queen of Pain went down a lot quicker, was not able to pop the BKB. Perhaps off to Xiaoei's mistake. He definitely had a lot of time to pop it. But right now, LGD is staying the ground. They're like, we want this tier 1, despite the fact that we're down Queen of Pain right now. Both of the support on the Dire has respawned, and they can come back. But that good Shackle Shot really turned the tide of the battle. And one of the many reasons why I believe Shackle Shot, one of the more broken stuns in the game, simply because it just gives you those lopsided team fights.
I'm wondering if the reason that Earthshaker did not actually blink in there is if he's trying to hold on to it for a Roshan engagement, because Roshan is back up. I guarantee you both teams have written that time down. They are aware that it's back up. And if you blow the Echo Slam and you don't win the fight, God forbid, even if you survive the fight, you're going to give up a Roshan. They might give it up anyway, but at least this way there's the threat of that initiation. And then if the push comes mid and the ult's up, it gives you a little bit of a way to deal with it. Looks like I believe this is a replicate or maybe just an illusion going into scout. Actually, it might just be an illusion, but either way, Enchantress takes that one over, and it disappears. So they're going to go for Roshan here. I wonder who they're going to give it to. They gave it to QQQ last time. Will they give it towards MMY? MMY definitely the primary damage dealer. QQQ much more of an initiator and a tank. I'm not sure who the correct decision is. I think you can make a case for either. But it's going to be important that they get something good out of this Aegis, because last time they picked up the Aegis, and then they turned it into an even teamfight top at best, and that's with the Aegis. And they really let LGD back into this game. LGD will be doing the next best thing to contest that Roshan, which is taking down the top tower. So yeah, this Aegis is a crucial Aegis. They have to at least get something for it. Ideally a tier 3 tower, maybe even make a go on a Rax. But certainly they can't afford to give it away for even kill trades.
Well, they are going for use it to that tier 2 right now. We do have Morphling starting to do that pressure on the top. It looks like Queen of Pain is able to help out to mow down the creep wave as well. And that might force the force Dire's hand. Ehome, will they defend their tier 2 or will they go for a trade? Going for a trade is fine. They are ahead, but having Morphling getting a tower like this, always a dangerous trade and dangerous move to do so. Leshrac brings down the mid tower. Looks like Radiant has destroyed that on top. Queen of Pain not coming back just yet. Very healthy in terms of mana pool. Will continue to push. At this point of the game, Ehome, do you defend? And I think they have to defend, but that just means that Morphling will be able to walk out the base and continue to do a little bit more farm. Looks like Queen of Pain has chickened out first and came back. And you talked about that. Will they use that Aegis for that Rax? I think they are looking to that chance. Personally, I'm a bigger fan of putting it on Leshrac. I think at this point of the game, he is so tanky, and then he does so much damage so quickly that it's actually viable to have him do, basically to have Slaughter initiate. He MMY charges secondly, pop off his post Nova and do as much damage as possible. He is going to die immediately though. But then after he alive, he's going to have the BKB. We have a blink in for King J. Black Hole, and yeah, I'll talk about that. Why it's so important to kill Yao right from the get-go. They do blow him up. Here comes the Morphling, focusing on Lamb. That would not be enough. We have a refresher finish. That is the second Black Hole in one team fight. 3-man Black Hole effectively here. Sylar has ran out. No, he's going to be alive right now. Shackle Shot onto great Shackle Shot after a buyback here. King J losing HP very rapidly. Blink, and he is going to be going down. Sylar, or excuse me, QQQ alive right now. Gets a one-hit bash. Will Xiaowei go down? Yes, he will. QQQ looking for a little bit more bashes. A buyback comes from Queen of Pain. I think this is time for everyone to retreat here. And when I say everyone, I just mean MMY. But that is not the end of team fight. Sylar is back. QQQ gets off a Slithering Crush, but I think he will be going down. Enchantress doing some big damage with the help of the Impetus pure damage. It looks like QQQ will be going down. Gem is going to be destroyed, and they are looking for that Enchantress waveform up. The mobility, you talked about it right from the get-go. They are non-stop chasing. Shackle Shot not going to lash. Let's shows his face a little bit, and that will be enough. I wonder how many buyback was that in a team fight. I don't even know. It felt like every player in the game has bought back, but the push is not done. Ehome, they have bought back themselves, and they're like right back.
I honestly wanted I want a button that I could just push it and play that buyback sound just for the hell of it, because it seriously felt like I could just be mashing that thing, and it wouldn't even be as fast as the buybacks are actually coming on the game. I'm not sure about this. Sure, they have a bunch of kills, but they don't have either of their black holes up right now, and normally you'd want the one. I mean, you have two to work with. You can't really go high ground without them, or at least it's going to be tough to do so. Sure, a lot of the ultimates are down for LGD, but double black hole, just too important, and we saw what a trump card that was to pull out in the fight. Still, the Aegis is gone. A bunch of deaths going the way of Ehome. I guess the easiest way to tell who came out ahead is to look at the gold graph, and frankly, it's very stable. And stable is going to favor LGD. I'm very confident about that because they didn't lose the base tower. It's actually very healthy. Only lost 350 health, which is pretty shocking, not only against conversions, but most importantly, that edict damage.
Yeah,
great play by LGD. They're actually going to go for the tier 1 mid.
Yeah, they are going to force Glyph right from the get-go. QQQ at this point, sure, he can blink in, but look at how quickly he died in that last engagement. He can't actually, depend on that Vanguard. He does have the BKB though. Xiaoe gets forced out on the low ground here, pops her BKB. BKB battle happening right up here. Morphling comes right in, no fear, because he's a Superman. It looks like he's going to do so much damage against QQQ in the BKB form. Here comes MNY with his BKB turned on. Gets one kill against the Crystal Maiden right from the get-go, focusing on Yao. Blink Enchant Totem, and then Fissure gets dropped, and an Echo Slam. Not doing that much damage, but mostly for the Chain Stun. We do have Enchantress chasing away Sylar. Sylar's going to make it out alive. Yes, he will. Meanwhile though, DDC alive, we do have Yao alive as well, and that was a good team fight when to bait people around. Good move here by Sylar, waving up here and then TPing out. That at least baited 5 or 6 seconds. Because there's no more buyback on the Radiant side, they have to delay as long as possible. This could mean the mid-racks is going down. The glyph had been used in the previous push, and I do believe Ehome, even though the Slaughter is not here, they can push down this racks.
Lumi, I cannot believe it, but the double black hole is back up and the BKB. This is go time if you're Ehome. Shackle shot to initiate. Apparently it's go time for Yao. Black hole number 1. BKB is popped. Yao down again. No shackle shot this game. But you can't use the double black hole if you die. He pops the refresher and he dies. Sylar doing absolute work in the middle of this fight. 2 kills. That Crystal Maiden ult helping quite a bit. It'll be 3 kills going the way of Sylar. Burning, sit aside, my friend, because Sylar is making a case for his Morphling. 11, 2, and 8. 200 CS. 5 CS per minute, doing a lot better than that 2 to 2.5 he had for most of the early game. Popping the refresher and then not getting the second ult off. That is a devastating situation. I believe KJ bought back there.
Yeah, he definitely bought back. Perhaps wanting to get a little bit more momentum and pressure. Pressure is the name of the game right now. Ehome, even though they're losing all these team fights, they cannot allow the Radiant to go past the river. Once you let a Queen of Pain and a Morphling pass the river, you will never see the Equilibrium going towards the enemy side because they will push. They have such global mobility that they will keep pushing multiple in lane, and it's so hard to gank them. They both have BKB. More so on the Morphling, has Replicate, Waveform, and all that jazz. But I really want to talk about why the Dire has been focusing so much on the Windrunner. You saw Ehome, King J, both team fight, just basically one-man black hole on the Windrunner. They realized that Windrunner in the team fight, if she stays alive for a long time, nothing can be good for you because Shackle Shot's going to be hitting, the Mecha's going to be popping off, and that's no good. So even though it's such an early investment, big investment on the black hole, it is still worth it.
I'm not sure if this is going to be an Ethereal Blade or a Butterfly for the Morphling, but he's got an Eagle Horn to his name, as well as 1,700 gold. I'm guessing it's going to be a Butterfly simply because at this stage of the game, there's too many BKBs up. The 3 core heroes for the Ehome already have them, and eventually I would not be surprised to see the Shadow Demon pick one up after what looks to be a 4-staff here. One thing I want to question for Ehome is maybe, should they have gone for more pushing items? They don't have an Assault Caress. I'm not sure if they even have a drums up. In fact, they don't. Very surprising to see a Chinese team with so many drum carriers not having a single drum on the squad. No Vlads even, no sort of pushing. And I guess most importantly, I'm thinking, where's the Necronomicon? If you want to push, you got to pick up some of these items, right?
Well, I mean, if you look at the Radiant side, same thing. They have none of those items. I think both teams has prioritized buyback. over kind of these small incremental item. I mean, drums is nice and having it is nice, but perhaps having a buyback would be a little bit more important. Now, if you're Ehome, that case is not going to be as strong because even if you buy back, there's no immediate way for you to get back in a team fight. But if you're Radiant, I think having a buyback is way more important. So perhaps you're right, Ehome should be getting those drums, should be getting those Vlads. But to be honest, I think when a BKB Morphling is waving at you, I don't think any of those items would be helpful.
That's definitely true, and man...
And there's so much creep clearing ability. I'm not sure if Vlad would actually do anything. A Fissure, Power Shot, Scream and Pain, those creep is going to just die, so... Not sure if that's going to be...
I guess I'm thinking more in terms of the heroes just tanking. Maybe you drop a few heroes and actually focus the racks, because right now their goal clearly is to win the fight, and I think maybe they'd be better off losing the fight but doing more damage to these base towers. Or the buildings in general. I mean, it's getting to a point now where they can't really trade like that because the Morphling is farm. The Queen of Pain actually very little farm is out because he's bought back and died so many times. So the Windrunner getting reasonably close to a Hex.
LD, I'm gonna quickly cut you off since we have a little bit of a Skype issue. Sorry for technical difficulties, but we are back. Yeah, you were talking about the Queen of Pain's poor farm, but I think again. She's getting the small items. I really like the choice of getting the Acceptor. Not really because Acceptor is an item that will get them that, give them the good winning advantage. I think Hex is an item that she really needs to kind of turn this tie around. But Acceptor is one of those items, the build-up is just so damn good. And I think that's what she's going after. Like, she can't really, have that 2k gold investment of the Ultimate War. She just need to get HP. And Acceptor gives that good build-up, and that's what Xiao is after.
Yeah, the point booster is also just so cost effective. I mean, you compare an ultimate orb and a point booster, that is just no contest. Even though it's a 900 gold more, it's just simply better to have the point booster. It gives you a lot more, just in terms of that raw HP and mana, and that's really what you're looking for on a hero like Queen of Pain. You're not as concerned about that agility. It really doesn't do anything for you at this stage of the game because you're not right-clicking on Queen of Pain against so many farm disablers. You're just trying to survive, trying to nuke them down as best as you can. Looks like Ehome is smoked up here, preparing for a Roshan engagement. And you mentioned the importance of Hex for the Queen of Pain, but hey, look at MMY. He's got one.
He's got one. Yep.
If there's a way to shut down a hero like Queen of Pain, I mean, not only the Queen of Pain, the Morphling and the Windrunner, all these evasive heroes, Hex is your #1 way to do it. Sure, you've got the Blink to initiate, maybe even the one hero Black Hole to follow up, but you need a little bit more, and Hex is definitely the first step in that direction.
It looks like, hopefully, LGD Xiao 8 will be coming back. I can tell you that I'm going to have a lot of post-editing to do with this one.
Yeah, Butterfly was picked up on Morphling during this period of time. And I love that choice because the evasion is always nice, but a lot of times you see Butterfly not actually being that useful in pro games simply because the opponents go for MKB or they rely on nuke damage. But in this case, sure, they've got the nuke damage, but you've got BKB to punish that, and nobody is a natural MKB carrier on Ehome. I suppose if the game goes long enough, maybe you'd see the Slardar or the Enchantress getting that, but that is a long ways out. It would probably be their last items, if that. And for now, it's just going to make the Morphling that much harder to bring down.
And to be honest, MKB is no joke in terms of cost. Like, I don't see Slardar or Enchantress, or for that matter, anyone on Ehome to actually afford that MKB. It seems like we're actually not going to get the pause, so we're going to still continue to 2x speed that one up. And hopefully we are staying the sync. 45:03 is the game time. Seems like Ehome is waiting for that Roshan. Almost there. Almost there. You can see this new ring feature. Really, really cool. Helping spectators and casters like ourselves to make sure that Roche is back.
Yeah, well, there go my ambitions of actually writing down the time and being the only caster who knows when it's about to respawn. I always mean to do it, I never remember, and Valve looking out for guys like me with that ADD and that short forgetfulness when it comes to little things. Or actually, in this case, a very big thing. I mean, you said that you were going to talk a lot about that NS post, and maybe this is a good time to start doing it because this is another Roshan going the way of Ehome. Now, I don't know if this one would have been contested anyway, but it certainly is more difficult to contest when you're looking at the way the Roshan is positioned. Just look at the net of wards, and you mentioned the sentry wards. So important for seeing those smoke ganks and so easy to set up if you're Ehome.
Right.
still having their tier 1 46 minutes into the game now. I don't care if the Russia pit is imbalanced. If you can keep your tier 1 tower up this long, you're going to have an advantage when it comes to the engagements, but still, that tower makes it so hard to set up.
I think a lot of people, if they're watching this game, they will refer back to the NS article, be like, man, look at how dire. It's so imbalanced. 46-minute game. They could still go for those Roshans relatively easily, but that's off the back of Ehome pressuring so well that they're not losing those tier 1s, on the mid lane especially. You know, a lot of times, or excuse me, earlier in the game, we saw LGD, they wanted to get the tier 1 mid. We saw that 2-man Shackle shot. We saw Earthshaker reserving that Echo. That fight, if you guys could recall and remember that one, Ehome, they were not going to give that tier 1 up, because not giving that tier 1 up and holding on to tier 2, again, you limit the Radiant to one gank path and one gank path only, which is going off that ramp and into the Roche pit. A lot of teams would like to smoke into the mid and go this way, or I've seen Complexity do a lot of these sneaky smoke business, going in front of the tier 2 on the bot lane if the tier 2 is not up. But that requires those tier 2, those towers to be not available. And I do believe that finally the mid tower will be denied at this point. I think with the third Roshan they have secured themselves, they're happy with their what their exterior tower has done for them. But at this point of the game, I think it is really firmly in the favor of LGD. Again, the goal difference not really showing at it, but again, like you mentioned, if the goal difference is not going anywhere, that's favoring the team with the more late game hero. And Morphling, by the way, has 2,500 gold after a BKB, after a Manta, after a Butterfly, and he will start, to get really out of control.
Yeah, something else to keep in mind, which I'm sure is obvious to you, but maybe not so obvious to some of the viewers. If you're not, if math is not particularly your strong suit, if it's just a 7,000 gold lead at every stage of the game, at first that might be a 50% lead. You might have even double the enemy team's gold. But at this stage of the game, look at just the total gold for each team, 68,000 compared to 75,000. That's only about a 10% lead, maybe a little bit more, actually a little bit less than that. It's not a significant lead at this point, to be honest. 10%, not that much, and you got to keep in mind, of course, like we've been harping on all casts long, the heroes in LGD, particularly the Morphling, just scales better with the farm. Yep. With the BKB up, there's nothing really to stop him. I mean, yeah, you've got the Black Hole, you've got the Amplify damage. Still, we've seen that's not enough to bring him down. And with so many great defensive heroes, the Earthshaker Fissure, the Windrunner with the Force Staff, and speaking of that Windrunner, yeah, it was managed to find that Hex. My question is, how close is Zhao 8 to that Aghanims? And actually, he's got it now. So I like the decision not to buy it. He's going to save for buyback, but eventually he will have enough to buy it and have buyback.
Yeah, perhaps he's going to go for Ogre Club for now if he wants the extra HP. And now we're going to have everything going back. But I want to mention what the support of both teams are doing. First, let's look at the Radiant support. We saw Morphling just slowly pushing up top. A lot of, well, actually, before I get on that point, a lot of people has been PMing me. It's like, oh man, I don't know what to do in a late game support, especially in situations like these. To be honest, what do you do as a Crystal Maiden? What do you do as a Shaker? Well, speaking of Shaker, when Morphling was slowly pushing up top, Shaker was just waiting in the woods just in case that the Morphling would get ganked, and then he would blink in with the, with the Blink Dagger and help him out. This is some of the things that you can be doing as a support. Meanwhile, on the dire side, we saw the support roaming deep in the enemy jungle, placing those wards, countering those wards, making sure they're limiting the vision. You can see that defensively and offensively, even 15-minute in a game like this where quote-unquote supports doesn't matter anymore, it still does. Every player on the team is so important. Ehome grouping up, perhaps trying to set up a gank, but LGD also doing the same thing.
One of the biggest things you can do as a support in this stage of the game is not to make a mistake, and that sounds obvious, but this means not running off on your own to ward. And hey, if you're in a pub game, I'm sure we have all either been the support or watched the support who runs off to try and say ward outside the Roshan pit with 5 enemy heroes missing, runs directly into the enemy team. Now, of course, we wouldn't see a pro support doing that, but we've definitely cast games where supports have just been, out of position. Maybe they only have 2 allies with them and there's 3 or 4 enemies off the map, and suddenly they're in a bad situation. They wanted to place those wards, and hey, whether it's a support or not, all these players on equal terms. They're all teammates. They're all working together to win the game. So if you say, oh, we need to ward, and you run off in that direction, your team will help you, but if you don't have the right numbers, it can cost you the game. So just those simple mistakes. It's not even about the support living or dying. It's about the consequences it has for the team. If the team tries to help you, and hey, it's a natural instinct. It's a teammate. You don't want to let them die for nothing. So easy to try and overextend, or even just do a little bit to help your teammate, and that 1 kill turns suddenly into 3, 4, 5. and cost you the game. So even it's not just what you do as a support; it's what you don't do in these situations, which can make a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about how support again in a particular team fight might not contribute a lot, but just the psychological advantage of basically if your support dies and an enemy has a 5v4 on you, that just might be the advantage of what they need to push right in. MMY is actually playing like a boss right now. He does have the age up, but the Shackle Shot is going to blow it up right now. King J, my eyes is on you. Let's see where your Black Hole is. MMY respawns right back. He does have the BKB. Well, that was an Aegis being used on nothing, but looks like the blink is going to be on Crystal Maiden. Going to focus on that big Echo Blink here, and we have Black Hole, the first of many here by King J. Refresher Ore is going to be cast immediately. No BKB being used right now. They're going to focus on Psylocke. Psylocke down to half HP. Fissure blocking him out here. Two-man Shack, or two-man Black Hole, but no damage coming out, and looks like we have a crush on DDC. He will go down, probably buyback really soon, and the Slaughter goes down, the Shadow Demon goes down, King J will be going down as well, and we have LGD holding MMY, the last person alive. He bought back after his death, boots of travel in, but will not be enough, and that was a death as well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen a 7-kill wipe, well, you just saw it right then, as LGD cementing their late game advantage. Morphling alive throughout all of that. I don't think he has died. No, definitely not. At 4,200 HP. And now 5,000 gold.
Lumi, you actually are sounding pretty robotic on my end, so unfortunately, let's restart the Skype call. I'll try and call you this time around. Maybe that'll help a little bit.
Alright, we're back after that fixing the Skype call. LGD is looking to get some advantage after that big team fight. At this late stage of the game, if you die, yeah, you're going to lose some towers, and because it takes so long for you to respawn, we did force a Nigma buyback, but Nigma without that Black Hole, this actually isn't that useful, to be honest. I mean, there's a Malice Wrist or two, but we see LGD, they're claiming the Rax. Glyph is already used, Enchantress Bully stepping in, but she's not going to do too much either, and the Rax, believe it or not, is going to go down. LG had the advantage throughout the entire game, not surprising to anyone. Now we do see Shadow Demon trying to do whatever he can, but nope. And that's not going to be enough. Melee Rax goes down. That's after a team fight on the enemy side of the map. 2 tower going down, a Melee Rax going down. LGD right now in full control of the game.
Yeah, that's really the only way to describe it. And I'm going to take a quick look here. Gold Graph, finally our first sharp spike of the game in favor of LGD. They've been behind by so long, and, you know, Queen of Pain with the Aghanims up. I heard the ult, I immediately went on, figured it was a kill attempt, but of course with the Aghanims, you could just spam that ult to farm, no problem. 40-second cooldown, going to be very happy about that. But yeah, one big fight going the way of LGD, and it's just, even if Ehome buys back, what does it really matter? Enigma, no Black Hole, no Refresher cooldown to use. Another thing to keep in mind, Enigma's Black Hole, BKB is down to a 5-second charge here. Sure, he's got 2 Black Holes, but realistically, is he going to get both of them off? Not without rebuying his BKB. So I guess that's going to have to be King J's next objective. It's just a filthy amount of gold to spend, and still not really be enough to carry. And wow, Zhao ate a big purchase with that Assault Curse. I guess this is a good time to check any other sort of items. Cheese was never used in that last fight.
I have Scotty as purchase on Morphling, so I've a fairly good choice. If you never really know what you need in terms of more HP, more damage, well, that is kind of best of both worlds to get both. And of course, the Frost is not irrelevant, especially against melee heroes. But so curious, that's the interesting choice on Queen of Pain. For a slimmer amount of gold, you could get the Hex. But it seems like they have identified what is really the only way they're going to lose. The only way they're going to lose is the 2 Black Hole that you talked about. And bring him down, BKB or not, with physical damage. So curious, definitely helpful in that. Of course, it makes your pushes a little bit easier and stronger as well. And now we see 55 minutes in the game right now, the creep equilibrium has been reversed. Ehome has done such a good job putting up the pressure with the heroes. But now, will they be able to defend? And let me tell you, historically, Ehome is the best turtling team I have ever seen in my life. So yes, they will be able to defend for a while, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Leshrac has picked up a plate mail. Looks like I'm guessing it'll be a Shiva's, but hey, Assault Curse would not be a bad choice because a lot of their damage is still physical at this stage. The nukes are okay, but you're up against so many BKBs, you just can't rely on them anymore. I mean, it's either got to be you disable them before they use the BKBs, or you just work them down with physical damage. The Black Hole, yeah, it's nice, but if the BKB's up, as the smoke happens, I believe those creeps spotted them, and if LGD was keeping a careful eye on the minimap, they would have on the map, they would have spotted that. and expect them to back off. I say that, but DD is in a lot of trouble here. 56 minutes in. The rune does not spawn bottom, and it looks like it would be a
yeah,
DD
she's
top.
smoked up and warding. Both teams just smoking and warding at this point. It's so obvious that what Ehome's been doing. Look how deep the creep equilibrium is, and only Shadow Demon's defending. But Radiant's like, yeah, you can have the Aegis. I think they're fine with giving the Aegis to Ehome at this point. No reason to take that risk, because look at how lopsided that last team fight has been. It didn't matter, Aegis or Cheese. Now, of course, Ehome didn't start out that team fight perfectly either. It was, if you didn't remember, it was a 2-man Shackle Shot MMY. His Aegis exploded very quickly. Slaughter didn't even have time to use his Cheese. So giving away the Aegis at this point might not mean a lot as you think. And again, I'm going to quote the NSS article here. Having Aegis, even a dire advantage, you get that Aegis. How much does that mean in a team fight? And so far, what we're seeing right now, it doesn't mean jack squat.
Well, it certainly doesn't matter if you set your team up in an unwinnable position to start the team fight, and that's really what it was. It was an unwinnable position because two heroes got shackled. Enigma was not able to use his BKB because the way that the fight was positioned, he was too close to the fight. They were trying to go uphill, and the initiators were not in front. You really want Slardar going in first, or the Shrek, but people were just not grouped up in the correct distances from each other. So what ended up happening is King J never had a good chance to black hole, and by the time he did, it was simply too late. And the other thing to keep in mind here is that this LGD has so many buybacks available. We keep on talking about it, but they're constantly saving money for buyback. Morphling has buyback, Queen of Pain has buyback, Windrunner has buyback. Even if you kill these heroes, it's not enough. You have to kill them all twice pretty much, at least all the important heroes. And the chances of doing that, well, you're going to need a cheese on every single hero on your team to do it. Which at the rate Ehome is going, they didn't use the cheese from the last rotation.
That might be the grand strat.
They've got now 2 cheeses to their name. Maybe that's what they need.
That might be grand strat. And of course, one of the downside of holding on cheeses and Aegis 16 minutes in the game is that it does eat into the inventory slot. And we are having some of these heroes that perhaps would need those inventory slots. I mean, Ehome, again, Slaughter, Leshrac, not the latest of all carries, but they definitely could use the extra inventories. As you can see that now, Ehome grouping in their own jungle. They're losing ground slowly and slowly. Earlier, we talked about the Black Hole. Even if you get the BKB, the new BKB perhaps, and you get that, you know, Black Hole twice. My question is, where the damage is going to come from? Leshrac at this point, sure, he is going to do some AoE damage, but I don't think by himself will be enough. And to be honest, there's just no damage that really helps them out. They have some decent single focus damage with the M damage, and of course Soul Catcher. If that lands on a hero, that hero's basically dead. But in terms of winning the team fight, you gotta keep in mind they gotta kill enemies twice at this point, because you talked about the numerous buyback. I really don't think Ehome's hero and Ehome's juice, gas, whatever you call it, they just don't have enough.
Yeah, they're not really built to burst down heroes multiple times. They're pretty much a one-shot combo. Not only in terms of the damage output, also in terms of the disables. And against so many mobile heroes, you need those disables in order to have any chance of bringing them down. I guess one thing I could, it's easy to sort of look at the way Ehome's playing right now and question as an observer, but one thing I'm questioning right now is maybe they should be having more disables on their team. I wouldn't mind seeing even some Yule Scepters, cheaper disable items, even stuff that burns mana, anything at all to try and take a hero out of the fight so you can focus someone down without being interrupted. Because LGD just has so many ways to counter-initiate. They've got the Shackle Shot, they've got the Force Staff, and the Hex on the Windrunner. Of course, Earthshaker, we know all about all of his modes of counter-initiation with Fissure, with the Ultimate, with the Blink Dagger, the Force Staff. And that's not even counting the Morphling and the Queen of Pain, who can simply counter-initiate by BKBing and just jumping into the middle of everything. LGD is feeling quite confident. Looks like they're going to go for the Rex here. They're going onto the high ground, or at least about to, against an Aegis and 2 Cheese. Whoops, just moved my camera a little bit weirdly there. But yeah, this is it's a pretty bold move. You got to feel like you're really far ahead to go in against what is essentially 8 lives. Plus, there's going to be buyback up on the Slaughter. And is that
just only one buyback, and
only Slaughter.
Yeah, only one buyback. Of course, that is basically 9 lives, but some of these lives are quite worthless. Like Lamb's, I mean, he could do some damage. That's nice. Lamb, by the way, is that what the hell is it? Is it just stacking HP?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I mean, I would like to see some utility items on this Enchantress.
I mean, utility item effectively give you survivability as well. I mean, sure, I guess if you get a Bloodstone, that's utility. You die, you're your team, right? But yeah, no, they need things like Yule Scepter. They need things like Force Staff. They have to somehow compete with the mobility that Radiant is currently excelling and excelling by a huge amount. We have up to 6,000 gold again here on Sylar. He is getting 400 creep kills in 60 minutes. And if anyone's wondering if that's a record or anything like that, no, it is not. Record is certainly still 720 creep kills in 55 minutes. That's some insane stuff. But yeah.
But that being said, let's not take anything away from Sylar.
Yeah,
this is very impressive farm considering the game state, which is constantly on the back foot. Rax in jeopardy for, frankly, I want to say 40 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that sounds
at least
right.
30 minutes. 30 to 40.
No, definitely 40 minutes, yeah. Perhaps even 50 minutes, because Ehome did not get into turtle mode till I guess 10 minutes ago. So we see a big swing of things. So if you are on Ehome and you've been warding very aggressively, well, you gotta switch up on wards. A lot of times, look at the wards down here on the map for Dire. It's mostly very deep far down. A lot of times we see in a game state like this, and 60 minutes in the game, I tell my support, man, you need to ward, and they ward the enemy jungle. I'm like, what? We're never even gonna be there. So all you really need, warding really is not as hard as one would imagine. Just look at where your towers are and just basically form a ring around it. Make sure you are seeing a little bit further away the stuff that you need to defend. So if you're trying to push, if you're feeling very aggressive, we see good teams warding right in front of the ramps in the enemy base and basically choking the enemy in. And if you're warding defensively, if you're losing, well, the wards on the die right now is perfect examples of how you should ward and counter ward.
Yeah, wards are all about understanding what your team needs to see in order to either avoid getting picked off and getting at a disadvantage, or in order to gain the advantage you need to go onto the high ground. And Ehome's doing a nice job of adjusting, but still, this is not a position they want to be in. They don't want to be playing on the defensive 63 minutes into a game, and I cannot believe it's actually been that long already. It feels like it's been a lot less. I mean, even though there hasn't been that much action, this game has been pretty action-packed for a Chinese game, and just the constant tension of, seeing LGD in absolute danger of losing Rax and just falling completely behind. At this point, they're up one set of Rax. It's not a range Rax, not really relevant. I mean, it's nice, but getting the melee Rax is what matters. And so essentially, Ehome is down a set of Rax, and they're playing defensively. This is not where they want to be. It's great that they're warding well. It's a start. But do we really see LGD making any sort of horrible positional mistakes getting picked off? I'm sure right as I say this, they will. But I would be very surprised to see.
I mean, as good as these Chinese teams are, they are still human, and they will make some mistakes, and we definitely seen in the past that they have made those mistakes. But I mean, here's an intense Dairycraft. Both sides are not really either. I mean, LG is putting on pressure, but they're not really pushing. Ehome creeping to do something up. There is a melee racks down here for Ehome, but I don't think that's a disadvantage. I might even say that's an advantage.
Sylar is in so much trouble right now. Blinken stunned to start. Sylar is going to probably die here. Oh, that was Shrek doing so much work. Down he goes, instantly godlike streak, and at 5k gold he will buy back immediately.
No problem. And then
yep, right as I said.
Yeah, right as you said, and again, people make mistake, and he will get pegged off. I'm sure he'll play a lot more defensively or a little bit more carefully from now on. But back to the point I'm trying to make. Right now, that the Radiant, they will never see this creep wave, or at least very little. I'm talking about the mid creep. Meanwhile, Dire will always see that creep wave. So sure, they might give you only 20 gold per creep wave, or 20 gold per creep, but it's more than what Radiant is farming. So, I mean, mathematically, in an equal world, it seems like Ehome's gonna get more farm in the long run. And it seems like this game is gonna go towards the long run as well, because LGD right now, you could bet your life on it that they will not do anything for the next 5 minutes. They will have to wait for the buyback on Morphling.
Yeah, if you're down only one lane of Rax and you're not so far behind that you have to hug your base, like if you have a chance of taking a fight or punishing enemy positioning, then you can get a slow advantage just simply by having the lane on your side. If you used to lose a second set of Rax, you're not going to be able to leave your base because it's just going to be pushing too damn hard, which means the enemy will farm your jungle all the time, and that's going to compensate for any advantage in terms of getting the creep wave on your side. At least it should go a long way towards doing that.
Yep.
I haven't looked much at the gold graph recently, and it's actually managed to work towards the Radiant side. I am surprised, in spite of the fact they got Rex, that it has worked out that way. Ehome smoking immediately have to kill off a creep wave here, and DD might be the sacrificial lamb. DD is just dead, and will they actually try to defend him? LGD is like, no, see ya, DD, and they immediately hightail it out of there. Very smart play not to try and take that fight. That could have been the game for Ehome, or at least wasted a crap ton of gold. Actually, Queen of Pain, no buyback. I don't think Windrunner has it, because she's got a 1450 unreliable gold. I don't think she'll have enough for buyback. It will be close either way. Earthshaker, no buyback. And Morphling, the buybacks and cooldown. This is a dangerous time for LGD. 5 heroes up. They're the ones with their X down, but they're the ones lacking the buyback if they need it. Actually, I believe Ehome is too. Blink in from Queen of Pain. Zow8 Hex to start on PCT. All immediately, and the Ghost Scepter working against PCT. Landom eats the Shadow Strike. KJ still fishing for that black hole. This is going to be what decides the fight for Ehome. Will they get it off? MMY, nice job stunning up Sylar. Then the black hole on Sylar. No buyback, and he goes down again. And Zow8 still in the thick of things, doing what he can, but it's time to run because they don't have damage without Morphling. Nice stun. Zow8 goes down. Blink out from DDC. Not sure how he got away from that. Leshracker seemed to be all over him. Yao escapes in the end, but 2 heroes living.
They go for Roche! Do you go for Roche or do you go for Rax right now mid?
Well, they know the Morphling's buyback is down, but they don't know if anyone else's is. They don't know if the Queen of Pain is. And I guess maybe that's the thought process.
And I think...
Well, it is right there. It is right there.
It is right there. There is a top Rax going in as we see Crystal Maiden using that freezing field as his intended purpose, which is mowing down creep wave late game. Don't even... Yeah, as we see the 3rd Aegis and 3rd cheese of the game. Sorry, what is this? The 6th Aegis, the 3rd cheese of the game being picked up here for Ehome. I think that was still the correct choice. Sure, you might have been able to actually take down the melee Rax mid, but that's not what they need right now. Like, a melee Rax mid means nothing at this point, as awkward as that sounds, because as a Morphling, as LG's heroes, they could easily mow down any big creeps. As we have yet the 2nd Tokyo drifting episode outside my house.
It's quite a party there, man. I'm disappointed I was not invited to it. But MMY has 6,000 gold in the bank. This is almost at that point of the game where it's not even worth farming if you're one of the primary heroes for your team, because you're simply maxed out. MMY has no room. I suppose you could replace the Bloodstone with maybe either something with more utility or just more raw stats on it. Heck, an Eye of Skady or a Heart would not be too bad for him, as strange as that might sound. Even a Butterfly
Rebuy your BKB.
Rebuy your BKB would be the obvious choice. But it's almost at that point where you shouldn't be farming on the carries. You should be giving the farm...
As awkward as that sounds, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. But yeah, you're right. Getting the Rax mid is not enough. You need Mega Creeps to win this game for both teams. Getting even 2 Rax, it's not going to secure a victory. Both teams have strong anti-push. I mean, Leshrac alone is enough anti-push. Slardart is pretty good in that department as well. And then you factor in, for the Radiant squad, they have even better anti-push. The Morphling, the Queen of Pain, the Windrunner, so much creep clearing ability. And don't forget about the Crystal Maiden or the Earthshaker, pretty decent AoE as well.
Right, so real fast, going back to the last team fight, you saw how quickly Sylar actually went down if he got focused. You know, we always think about Morphling in the late stage of the game as this invincible hero that you could focus on him, but he will just kill you a lot quicker. That isn't the case so far, and I gotta just hand it to Ehome. 70 minutes in the game, they're staying toe-to-toe to an enemy team that has a Morphling, and it's a decked out Morphling. Up to 3k go in terms of farm right now. Boots Travel is going to be his boot choice, as it always should be in a late game situation like this. Buyback, is it available? Yes, it is. And he would definitely have to go for buyback. I do like the Helm choice. If you don't burst him down right from the get-go, he will just eventually kill you. And again, Ehome, like you pointed out, only has that initial 1 big black hole burst. If you don't kill the Sylar right then, the team fight's going to get ugly.
Well, one way to burst on the Morphling is to just simply disable him before he can use that Strength Morph, because if he gets it off, look at his raw stats. He's got so much that can be morphed to Strength. He's also got that mobility on the hero in general. Even just popping the BKB, they lack the damage without the magical input, or output, excuse me, of the Leshrac, to bring him down. So they really need to hex him before he can initiate.
Crystal Maiden has the BKB.
Oh, it's that time of the game where everyone starts to get their items. Crystal Maiden got hers. Queen of Pain, Zow8 just going to be popping that that ultimate. I always want to call the ult Spirit Pain, but in fact it is Sonic Wave, and the Creep Wave going down. It'll be back up again very shortly. But yeah, I really think we're at a stage of the game now where the Hex is so crucial, and this is a Morphling with no Linkage Sphere. I'm so used to seeing him, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are. It's the very common way to play, especially in Western, in sort of the Western Dota scene. You always get Linken's and Morphling for that early game team fight. Looks like we're gonna have a big push on the middle lane, potentially a game-changing team fight.
MMY a little bit out of position. He's gonna get fissured up. The right click coming. MMY down to half HP already. The Black Hole's gonna come. That's a 3-man Black Hole. We're gonna see a refresh. QQQ will chains on that one. I hope there's gonna be refresh. Second Black Hole. That's gonna be on 3 as well. On 4 as DDC's gonna be go down right. Team fight, Ehome starting perfectly, but we have a buyback from Sylar. He boots a travel right in. That's going to be 1 kill against 357. He's going to go for the second, third kill. Yep, that's 1 more down. He's going to go on MMY, losing HP very big. King J at this point, distraction purposes coming in. MMY barely survives, and Sylar, will he chase? No, he will not. Ehome holds, draws whole bunch of buyback out, and they gotta force LGD back. LGD won't push for another 5 minutes, and that will be enough time for the Black Hole to cool down, for the buyback for Ehome to cool down. This game, it is intense. M1 getting got out of position, but Ehome somehow won that team fight.
All the cheese are gone, Lumi. There is no cheese left, and of course the Aegis is gone as well. No sort of additional lives available to Ehome for another 5 minutes here.
Well,
and you
Roche is going to be back in about 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, you said LGD won't push, but I don't think Ehome's going to push either. And
Yep.
the longer this game goes, I still favor LGD. I don't think there's a second tipping point where it goes back towards Ehome. I mean, a Morphling, he actually just rebought his BKB. Great choice by Sylar. I love to see pros doing this. It's one of those little things that you so often don't think about, because hey, you've got a BKB, isn't it the same at all stages? No, it's not. To the 10-second duration, so much better than the 5-second. Absolutely huge, especially against this Refresher Enigma, because frankly, his BKB is a 5-second one, and he's probably not going to get both of them off, but he will get at least the first, and if you can survive that, and then pop your BKB, you will be fine through the second. Not enough physical damage to bring you down.
Well, LGD is applying pressure. I wonder this kind of pressure is kind of real pushing, though. I'm not sure whether LGD is bold enough to push in, because if they lose a team fight right now, they are going to just lose the racks and perhaps the game. What they're going for perhaps right now is a team fight without the Black Hole. And Black Hole does have a big cooldown, but as I say that, only 1 minute away. Refresher Orb is just 30-second away. So Ehome, all they have to do is blow up the next creep wave or so, and they should be fine taking a team fight right outside their base. I don't think they have a lot of buyback being used in that team fight. King J has his buyback, MMY has his, QQQ does not. So at the very least 2 buyback, but you talked about no Aegis, no double cheeses on the Radiant side, and right now they are buying for time. Time is of essence. Black Hole's up in about 30 seconds. I don't think he's going to pop his refresher right then. He's going to go for it. He's going to go try to have both ready. Shackle shot not latching. Any mistake at this point in the game will cost Ehome the game. And will they make those mistakes? We're about 15 seconds, and that should be enough time for the Black Hole and the refresher for the next team fight. Boys and girls, we got ourselves a game. Ehome is not giving up.
Yeah, the slow, patient siege actually working against LGD just a bit here. As you mentioned, the big Black Hole is about. The double combination is up. LGD not the best position here, but the shackle shot will latch on QQQ. Is that really enough to go? They think it is. Hex on the QQQ, 4-step out. This defensive disruption, so much defensive capability here. Big Echo Slam from DDC. King J not able to get any of his Black Holes off. First one hits beautifully on 3 heroes. So much damage from that impetus. 2 heroes down. Yao will go down, only making himself hurt a little bit more. Hex onto DD. Second Black Hole, actually, I guess he used it and it was canceled there. Sylar doing a bunch of damage and replicating a little bit out of the fight. Will he come back in? Probably not, since his buyback is on cooldown. I think the fight is lost for LGD, but they used up the Black Holes, and that's going to make it very hard to go high ground, even if it's only the Queen of Pain and the Morphling alive. Pretty strong turtling heroes. very difficult to lock down without those BKBs.
All right,
or without that black hole.
A little bit of recap on that team fight. Morphling waveform in, and that was so huge. It gave King J a choice. Do you stun the Morphling, who's going to be doing the biggest damage, or do you stun his supporting cast? And he's going to stun multiple of the supporting cast. He definitely used both black hole, and neither one was cancelled. He got the full duration off. He went for the supporting cast, and they were able to do a lot of damage. Windrunner went down eventually, and of course Crystal Maiden and Shaker, they went down as well. But that also meant that Morphling was on a spree in terms of killing people, and he definitely did his job. So it definitely was a strategical choice whether to black hole a hero or multiple but weaker heroes. And King J went for that. But in that team fight, it seems like they have won it, but the consequential damage was the range racks going down. I think there was some buyback being used. Right now, Ehome sensing there's some hope. There's a ray of hope in the end of the tunnel. They are going for more pickoff. If they find a hero and pick him off right now, this game might just be theirs.
LGD not even thinking about leaving their base right now. Very smart. Finally, they start to. The Roshan is about to respawn. Ehome about to get yet another Aegis and Cheese going their way.
This is the
at
this
least
will
if
be the
they play their
seventh one.
cards right. Yeah, if LGD plays their cards right, they will try their best to prevent this. Of course, it's going to be harder now for Ehome because everyone is up on LGD, and Ehome are the ones that use buybacks primarily in that last fight. So they have to be very careful about selecting when they engage. If they die again, they won't have the buyback. At this stage of the game, buyback is your most important resource. It's not items. It's not even BKB charges. It's not your abilities that matter. It's certainly the abilities matter.
For Black Hole, it definitely does, yeah.
But aside from that, the next most important resource is the buyback, because let them blow all the black holes. If you can come right back to life on, say the Morphling or the Queen of Pain, you can completely turn the tides of the fight. And for now, both teams sense that Roshan is about to come up. They are Gaul positioned around the area. I love this dance that the teams play before the Roshan engagement begins. Such a beautiful thing to watch. The wards being placed, all the heroes migrating about, trying to find that correct positioning. And now it's looking like LGD are the ones in a comfortable spot here. Dire have the Roshan advantage naturally, but if you lose Rex, then suddenly it's a lot easier for the Radiant to get in good position.
And looks like Yao is going to be going in. So important to point this out as I'll point it out later because Ehome is storming right in. They have the good position. They are going to find DD. He gets hexed up. King J comes in. He does have the black hole ready. One-man black hole on the morph. No, that is Xiao A. Xiao A gets blown up here. King J will have to refresh. He does refresh right now. The second black hole just gets, no, he gets the Morphling and the Shaker. Sylar, he is BKB up. Look at his health. Double hex is going off. Sylar, he won't go down. He gets 4 sap out. He is going to go down. 357, very low. Look at Impedus, pure damage, no joke at this point in the game right now. Still gonna focus down on the Crystal Maiden. At this point, MMY has to back off. Yao running away for his life as well. Pops a BKB, the block 1 pure hit. King J not getting the Malice Fist off. Enchantress finds a kill on Xiao 8, and looks like they did defend the Roshan. We do have DD wasting so much time of MMYs. Still alive at this point here, and if you're Ehome, do you go in? Do you buy BOT and try to get the top racks? What do? You get the Roche?
They're not done yet. They gotta kill off DD. Honestly, chasing that Crystal Maid is not even worth the time it takes to kill him at this stage of the game. But it's tough to say. Even after all that chase, they have a minute, and that is a precious minute to spend. If they go for Roshan, by the time they get to the enemy base, the enemy heroes will be respawned. Queen of Pain and Morphling don't have buyback. Earthshaker does not, but he's coming up soon. Still, the 2 most important heroes are down. Is this the right call?
I don't think...
This will be one of those few times where you don't want to take a free Roshan.
I really don't think it is. It was Windrunner. Of course, they don't know how many buybacks are available. I do believe Morphling bought back in that fight, and he perhaps BOT in. I'm not sure. Aegis and Cheese gets distributed. Lamb of all player gets the Cheese, which is not bad. She is throwing out pure damage. But if you looked at the boot choice of both MMY and King J, they both had boot to travel. They definitely could have just boot to travel, which the Rax was, or excuse me, the top tower, even what gets destroyed by the Creep Wave. They had a chance. They could have Raxed it. It's a Latrak we're talking about. But again, they didn't know how many buybacks were available. To be honest, I didn't even know how many buyback was used in that team fight. It was just so hectic. So I can't fault Ehome for not going for it, but I think I would have gone for him if myself. Of course, I am observer. I see everything, and they don't.
A little bit of an unorthodox item here, not to digress from our previous discussion, but Latrak has gone for Heaven's Halberd. Very interesting choice, but it makes a lot of sense. not only to help deal with the Morphling. Now, I believe Manta Style does remove that, and BKB will prevent it from being. You cannot use it when BKB is active. So it's not going to work all the time, but just one more way to prevent that Morphling from doing anything. And this fits into that category of utility items, which we were hoping to see Ehome picked up. Speaking of utility, well, Lanham's got something to his name. He's got a Force Staff, which is really not a whole lot at this point. The Slardar is the one hero, just no progression at all.
He's dying every fight.
He's had these items at the 40-minute mark, maybe even earlier than that. I mean, it's been a while since QQQ has added something to his name. And it's not just because he's dying a lot, it's also just the nature of Slardar. He's not the best farmer.
Yeah.
He's not quick at clearing creep waves, he can't spam his nuke, and that means he's not going to acquire new items as quickly as a Queen of Pain, as a Morphling, or as a Leshrac. Speaking of that Leshrac, 600 CS.
600 CF, but still perhaps not enough. By the way, the Heaven's Halberd was picked up quite a bit of a while ago as Force Staff. Neither of us is really paying attention to the item check. I mean, item is going to be a big deal of the game, but more importantly, it's the strategy, it's the map position, it's the wards. Do apologize if you guys are really in tune to make sure that you know what is the correct item to buy in this stage of the game. More utility item here on the Dire supports. Yule Scepter that you talked about, that is so good to have. I really want to see a couple more Heaven's Halberd because they're so good. Sure, BKB is going to shut it down, but when BKB is not up, well, it gives you more and more ways to deal with that Morphling. I mean, you can definitely kite carries still at this stage of the game, but speaking of the Morphling, we're up to 2k go again here, fully decked out. That is a Satanic, kind of a cool picture of the Satanic. That's a Satanic, a repurge of the BKB, a Butterfly, a Eye of Scotty, and a Manta, and a BOT in 82 minutes. Of course, numerous buybacks were used throughout all of that, and still saving for more, obviously.
And this Crystal Maiden, as baller as she is, she's about to go down here. Maybe not. Will DD?
She has a BKB.
BKB. They're not gonna waste a black hole on that. So DD is safe. Still, it is a precious Crystal Maiden BKB charge.
It's not precious at all, man. What are you talking about?
that was a joke.
But look at the mini map here. Look at the river. The warding is just intense. Still 82 minutes in the game. As important as the first minute game, always keep wards up. Look at DD, more baller than she really should be. Oh my goodness, don't get picked off. She sees enchant, just drops the ward and back off. And I don't advise this kind of play, but if you're DD, you know what you're doing. You know. At this point of the game, even if she gets picked off, it doesn't really mean too much. I don't think Ehome would push with the Crystal Maiden dying. Heck, they even push with 4 people dying because they were afraid of buyback. So
it's certainly not one of those situations where it's like, all right, that hero's dead. Let's go push.
That was like about 40 minutes ago where LD brought up the point. Hey man, supports can't get picked off, and really support should never get picked off. But at this point of the game, even if the support was picked off, it wouldn't mean too much. That's the point I'm trying to make. Yeah.
Not to be outdone, PCT immediately dewards that. Within about 10 seconds. So even though he didn't have vision, just nice map awareness in general. And yeah, I was actually about to mention that before we saw the Crystal Maiden in a little bit of trouble. What a minefield of Sentry Wards being placed here. It's all about spotting those smoke ganks right now.
Yep.
Of course, Roshan is down for a while. They already have the Aegis and the cheese to their name. So it's not even concern over the Roshan pit. This is just wanting to know what's coming your way. And those wards are much more important than anything else you could spend your gold on. And we are looking at a stage of the game where pretty much everyone has all the items they need, and it comes down to play, strategy, and just, frankly, who you drafted earlier on. But still, the little things that really make a difference are the buybacks and just the wards and positioning. And the best way to set up for that is to have vision to know what's going on.
And right now here, I want to count the number of Boots Travel on Ehome's side. When games are unwinnable, Boots Travel will win games for you. If you get in that situation that they were in about, I say 8 minutes ago, where they went for the Roche, or 5 minutes ago, where they went for the Roche instead of the top push. If that situation ever arises again, with 4 enemy dead, 3 people with BOT, I think they will go for it. I still believe Ehome made a strategical mistake for not going for the Hail Mary. A little bit too defensive in my opinion, but BOT up on King J, on Lamb, and on Leshrac I believe as well. Slaughter does not have to go for it, and neither does Cupid Cat. Although Cupid Cat, as we see a big team fight breaking out here, Black Hole #1 being dropped Black hole number 2 will be shortly after, but Sylar not losing any HP. Black hole number 2 coming right out. No one focusing on Sylar. BKB blocking a lot of duration of it. Sylar does go down. He is going to be buying back. Breach of Travel coming in instantly here. MMY losing HP very rapidly. Still alive at this point here. Losing HP. Still okay. Queen of Pain will be going down here. QQQ alive. Where is some Sylar? Sylar waves out. Sylar needs to run. Eats the Impetus here. QQQ looking for it. He goes on the Crystal Maiden. Poor choice. Need to focus on Sylar. Sylar is going to be getting 1 kill. Second kill coming right now. Gets a double. Focusing on MMY. That's 3 kill. Leshrac buys back here. But Sylar is still on the rampage. King J loses Aegis. Will be trying his best to blink up on the high ground as soon as he respawn. He does blink away. Sonic Wave still follows. Xiaowei comes in right now. They gotta focus on Sylar. They cannot make the same mistake again. They do bring him down. Yes, they do. No buyback here on Morphling. And the game's still on a tight equilibrium. Ehome, will you push or will you turtle? And seems like yes, they will push at this point. With about 90 seconds dead on the Morphling. They're gonna go for it. But look at Queen of Pain trying to discourage that push. He's gonna go on King J. There's a Hex on King J here, losing HP quite rapidly. He's got to go back because there's a Hex on King J as well, cooling down just about 8 seconds. By the way, King J does have the Breach of Travel. He's looking for some heal at this point, and he hopefully will be able to rejoin and push. He's up to 6k gold. Did not need to use his buyback at last team fight. This game, crazy stuff that you're watching, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, the only other thing I can think of right now is that maybe this Morphling should just be heavily into the strength department and use that to tank and then go back to agility after tanking the double black hole, because he bought back and just died again. So it looks like Xiaowei is going to be taking some harassment here. The Rack's being slowly sieged down. Man, it's so unusual to see a Morphling dying this much at this stage of the game. They got so much burst damage. Yao goes down. Nice chain stun there. And it looks like the Racks are in danger here. Windrunner buys back. Morphling up in 30 seconds. That is the only number that matters right now. Big Force Staff Echo Slam as well onto Lanef, who gets Force Staff towards the enemy team, which might actually help him stay alive, but it's not going to be enough for the moment. Xiaowei actually just right-clicking away, and it looks like MMY on the retreat. He's got Hex, but nobody to Hex. Just kidding. Xiaowei BKB wears off. He's in trouble. DDC eats a Slither and Crush. Looks like he's going to go down. MMY may have overextended. He's going for the biggest play of his life. Disruption. Pulse Nova ticking while he's disrupted, because yes, it does do that, folks. And yeah, Yao goes down. Cupid Cat throws the Morphling up in the air, and he goes Scepters, but he will go down. After all of that, Ehome gets nothing. No racks. No base towers beyond what they already had, and that is all that matters right now.
How did LGD hold for like 80 seconds when their Morphling was dead? Now, a lot of it was travel time, but there was definitely at least 40 to 50 seconds in front of the base with just supports. It was a Crystal Maiden, Windrunner, and a Shaker holding the fort. Windrunner died in the get-go, and she had to buy back as well. Perhaps she didn't buy back. I don't even know how many buyback has been used, but late stage of the game, for example, if you're Crystal Maiden and you got picked off there, you would not be able to participate in that base defense. And she definitely did quite a bit. I mean, she dropped a freezing field throughout all of that. Damage sure is very neglectable, but it's just another target that the enemy here have to worry about and have to focus. Again, no one really getting any kind of leeway. We talked about how LG should be winning, but that was about 40 minutes of they should be winning. And they really just got a range racks on top of the melee. I actually don't see them making a lot of ground. It was Ehome that made a big push, and they got something. And again, we do see 2 racks as fully exposed. Don't be surprised if there's any immediate mass backdoor tactic. That is possible as well. Enchantress, I'm waiting for this baller play. Enchant and creep, park it right in front of a racks, and then just mass BLT onto it. I'm waiting for that, man.
That's certainly one way to try and turn the game in your favor. Of course, with the Morphling, I believe... Can you TP onto replicates? I want to say you can.
I don't think you can.
Okay, never mind then. That was going to be my counter play.
Counter backdoor play, yeah.
Well, he did have the Helm of Dominator for a bit, so that was an option, but now it is a Satanic. Can't dominate any more creeps. DD continued to do what he does best, which is actually just to ward constantly like a champ. Vision is a weapon all of its own. You do damage simply by getting that jump for your team. Man, I don't know at this point of the game. It's just, it all comes down to just that split second. If you don't pop your BKB in time, you die. If you pop it too soon, it's not up when you need it. If you use a Hex prematurely, the hero comes out of Hex too soon. Every second, every move has to be perfect, and we're about to see who's got the better timing. Lanham eats the Hex. Huge ult by Queen of Pain. Actually, it's not that huge, but does decent amount of damage. Sylar wait for mid, immediate BKB. He's still only on a little bit of strength. Pretty squishy, to be honest. MY doing a ton of damage. Second Black Hole is coming out. King J, they want to bring down Sylar. They get him instant buyback. Nice enchant totem there. DDC gets a second kill going their way. Looks like QQQ in trouble. And he gets bashed, actually. Zowie running out of that fight. He should be okay for the moment. Not the best blink. QQQ is going to go down. The Morphling, I guess he tried to boost the Trevelyan and messed it up because he is not here when he desperately needs to be. Still, his team wins the fight. 3 heroes dead. They cannot buy back. And I think that might be game.
That might be, but great play from QQQ. At the midst of a team fight, he saw Morphling teleport on a creep, and he went on that creep big time. But will that be enough? I mean, if Morphling was back in the time, that fight will be over. Blink Enchant Totem on DDC, focusing on MY, losing down to half HP. Shackle shot, 3.75 second of Chain Stun here, and he will go down because Morphling now back in the fight. And this game just too out of reach for Ehome. The late game powers of Morphling is just right here, and instead of going for the Rax, they are going for the straight throne. Great choice. Raxes do nothing at this point in the game, and the throne so easy to bring down. QQQ calls to GG. I don't want to take anything away from LGD for winning this game, but I gotta commend Ehome staying in the game against 92 minutes against a Morphling. That is just insane play.
Damn! What a game. So even from start to finish. Look at that gold graph. In a 90-minute game, to never see the gold graph go more than 9, or I guess that's about 8,000, 9,000 direction in favor of either team. That is remarkable. 150k approximately was the final bounty reaped by each team. We do see LGD winning. Great play by Sylar. Did not have a good start. Turned it around nicely. 23, 9, and 18. But by no means would I call him the MVP for his team, let alone for the game. You got to give a lot of credit to that Enigma. King J, so many great black holes, winning mid versus the Queen of Pain. And not only did he win mid, he controlled the runes, which is not something you see often. Really all around. So many players to commend, not enough time to do it. But Lumi, thank you for having me. What a game this was. What an exciting back and forth. Well, not a series, but it felt like a series casting it, even though it was only a single game.
Enough time to really fit a whole series into this one. LGD finally takes the game. The final score is 51-48. Didn't seem that long, but I had great blast casting it. Today is actually LD's birthday, so thank you for taking your time out and casting with us. I wish there's a lot of comments in the comment section below to wish LD for his 26th birthday. I hope you didn't mind for me saying that. But what a game this is, and we're going to have more games like these going your way. So do stay tuned for watching on my channel. Of course, check out LD on his channel, LD Dota. That is going to be the YouTube username. And really, again, thank you for staying for this long game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, this is LD and Luminous signing off to you guys.